Welcome to another episode of Behind the Lens. Today I sat down with an old friend, EposVox, to talk about how he kind of inspired this show, his OBS Master Class, streaming, technology, everything else that he does, and there's a lot, and we had a good time. So I hope you also enjoyed this episode of Behind the Lens. It's not like super in-depth. Oh, flashing.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
What happened?
Hang on, 1 second.
What just happened? You've just been abducted by aliens.
Time for an EposVox hit piece.
No, that comes later.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, but thank you for sitting down with me and having this conversation. This has been, it's been a good time. When I thought about this, I thought back to that conversation with video we did, and this series is kind of like the real version of that. So,
Gotcha.
I appreciate it. You ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay. Going back, all the way back to 2012, to April of 2012, when Lil Epos decides I'm gonna make a YouTube channel, and I'm gonna start doing videos on YouTube. Why'd you get started? What got you interested in getting started in this as a hobby way before it was a job?
Well, I always love throwing off people with regards to this. That's not even remotely when I actually started on YouTube.
I knew that was coming.
I started on, it was in 2006, I believe. I was using, prior to YouTube, I was using a service called Xfire, which was an overlay service and screen capture service for video games that kind of had a lot of features that Steam ended up introducing, but before Steam was really a thing. And
Yes.
A lot of my gaming buddies at the time recorded tons of really cool clips in their games and uploaded them to Xfire, but they had no idea how to do anything with them. And so I was the guy that moved them all over to Google Video and then YouTube. And that's how I got started, whatever.
Word's good.
Yeah. And that was kind of my thing for a little while. And for even a couple years into me doing YouTube, my most viewed clip was a video called COD 4 Funny No Gun Kill, because at the time no one knew about the default weapon in Call of Duty, which is just your finger guns. And so it was just someone who had enabled that and shot someone, and everyone's just like, how did he shoot someone with his face? And there we go. Ooh, that was weird. Sorry.
Technical difficulties.
My computer, I've moved my computer recently and everything's falling apart. But yeah, it was just someone shooting with like finger guns, and everyone's just like, holy crap. And so that video was super big for a long time. And then around midway through high school, I started transitioning to doing Let's Plays, and the easiest thing to record at the time was the Minecraft beta.
Yes.
And alpha and stuff like that. And then in 2009, I got my first capture card in, which I just got the company, it was AverMedia, to send me a brand new in-box version. So I'm going to re-unbox my first ever unboxing. I'm pretty stoked for that.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I was capturing Halo Reach and Halo 3. I guess it was the Halo Reach beta and things like that. And then fast forward to 2012. I didn't like my name at the time because, I had bounced across like 4 different channels by this point, and the channel that I had stuck with the most was Ted Demolisher with Leet Speak numbers and letters.
Which I remember that name because that's, I think, still your Minecraft name.
Yeah, and still my name in a couple Steam games that won't let you change your name from like your original ID. And no one knew how to say it. Everyone in like Xbox Live and stuff, it was Demolitioner and weird things like that. No one knew how to say it. No one knew how to find it. It was just cringy and stupid. And so in 2012, I had decided I wanted to be a real YouTuber. And so I needed to brainstorm a name. And I had a buddy who helped me put it together. And because at the time, the thing I got kind of most like noticed for, or whatever people left comments for, was my voice and yada yada, we did a very horrible Latin translation of Epic Voice into EposVox, which is not really the translation, but it's close enough, and it has that weird like branding, like 2-syllable, 1-syllable thing. For a long time, everyone thought I just ripped off BebopVox's name, but I never knew who BebopVox was at the time. But yeah, and so I just wanted to make cool gameplay commentaries and be the next Scene Anners or something, and make Let's Plays and be full-time. And that's not remotely what I'm doing now, but I am technically a full-time YouTuber living the dream. So I guess I achieved it, even though what that looks nothing like I thought it might in, say, 2009 when I bought my capture card.
So you mentioned pre-YouTube days. Your pre-YouTube days. The first video that you got onto YouTube, at least on this channel, was tech content, and then you said you were still thinking about doing gaming when you got started. Where along the lines did that transition happen, where you realized you were more about doing tech-related videos than gaming ones?
I guess it would have been summer to fallish 2014 is when I really started to realize it. And then I made a decision. I think I made the decision itself on Christmas of 2014 that as soon as it rolled over to 2015, I was just going to be a tech channel. And up to that point, I'd done some new, some more attempts at higher quality format gaming stuff and Let's Plays and commentaries and packages. And then I transitioned to doing co-op Let's Play stuff with my wife, at the time girlfriend/fiance. We had done a bunch of co-op stuff like that. And it really didn't pan out very well. Like the content, I still think the content was actually pretty good. Like we had a lot of fun. Some of it was bad, but we had a lot of fun. It was a good time to spend together, and content that wasn't really present on the platform at the time. Like this was I guess not before they existed, but before the whole like group of dudes playing video games together kind of game grumpy thing really took off, because it was before live streaming was super big.
It was before.
It was kind of unique at the time.
Before the whole concept of a bunch of people and switching between multiple different points of views, because the technical barrier there was actually pretty high.
Right, which is what I was doing. Like we had a whole Pokey MMO Let's Play series where I had all of our perspectives cutting back and forth. Like I put a lot of work into that. But what was actually doing well on my channel was my product reviews of like gaming headsets and stuff like that, and they were super bad at the time, but I was doing it. And then my OBS tutorials. And it eventually got to the point of kind of like stressing me out and me trying to figure out what would or wouldn't work, that I just said, hey, this is what I should try pursuing. And so I completely, like on January 1st, I just rebranded the channel, uploaded a tech video, got so many comments of people just being like, when did I subscribe to this channel? What is this channel? Hello? But it's worked out ever since.
So you remember being on YouTube for as long. You remember a time when you had to be with an MCN. And then and here we go. Here comes this part of the question. And then I also remember a time where both of us had falling outs with MCNs. You were sort of an influencer relation person with an MCN. We're not going to go in super deep there. But how was it to one day just wake up and go, this isn't working for me, it's time to go solo?
I wish I could say that I woke up and decided that. It was probably at least 6 months of just hell of my job. Because, okay, so I guess for the MCN decision itself, at some point along the way, I did wake up and just kind of realize, hey, this isn't necessary anymore. My channel itself should be independent. But since I was actually a contract worker for that MCN, I couldn't do, I could have, but I didn't want to do that. And I had a managed partnership with them at the time, which meant at the time, that's no longer the case, but at the time, my channel was basically kind of shielded from the automated content ID system and things like that. So I had some nice perks. And they, of course, gave me like a 95% rev share, so I wasn't losing much money or anything like that. But the job itself went from very quickly, I worked my butt off leading up to moving out and convinced them to basically double how much I was making so that I could move out on my own into my own apartment. And then over the next year or two, management just got insane and the whole company started crumbling, and it just became this massive stress fest. And to the extent that my last couple paychecks were only like a couple $100 because of the way they were running things, it wasn't even like affordable to still work for them. And so eventually I reached a point where I got like my second paycheck that wasn't, a fraction of what I was supposed to be making to pay rent, that I was just like, all right, instead of working, I'm going to go stream for a little bit, and then made Twitch affiliate within like a month. But
yeah, you did.
And then didn't stream for 2 years.
That was back when affiliate was just getting introduced too. I remember when you were streaming for a while there.
Yeah. I kind of got screwed in that regard, though, because I had streamed for like a month or two, and then affiliate was introduced, and I made affiliate and was affiliate for like a week before I got burned out on streaming so much and stopped streaming for 6 months. But that's okay. But yes, it was a decision that I was afraid to make for a few months, and thus led to all of that stress. But it was the most relieving and liberating decision I made, to the extent that I even randomly became a full-time streamer for a small chunk of time, because I had so much free time and so much just extra energy during the day. It was quite nice.
So what then would you say as advice to people who are coming up with channels who are still part with MCNs? Should they stay with them? Should they go solo? Is there a certain threshold where you would recommend considering going solo? What do you think about that?
I don't think numbers would do it justice. Like just metrics that you should base it off of, because there are some channels that are super massive that are still with MCNs because they're treated really right and they honestly shouldn't leave. But either if you are thinking of joining an MCN or you are in one, and especially if you're in one, I'd say to just super strongly evaluate if you're actually being given the value of the cost that's being taken from you. And if you're not making much money from your channel, then maybe. Like that's how they were appealing to so many small channels for a while, was even the massive contracts that were like, they take 50% of your earnings. If you're only making $5 a month, you actually get that $250 instead of waiting on AdSense checks or whatever, and then you get some extra services and help. But if you're like approaching like a more substantial revenue base and they're taking 25, even 15% of that, and you're not really using their services, or they're not really giving you anything back, because they all say they're going to hook you up with brand deals, and they're going to specially coach your channel, and they're going to do all of this. And while they do that for certain specific channels that they work with, for the most part, they rely on their profit base by having a bunch of channels. It's like insurance. Like their profit base is based on people not needing them, and
just giving them free money off the top.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're wasting your money. And even like for the music services, like, okay, if you're making more than $100 per month and they are taking more, or if you're making $100 or more per month and they're taking at least 15%, then at $100 you could pay for Epidemic Sound yourself. It is like $15 a month, maybe $5 a month, depending on your channel size.
And Monster Cat is $5.
Cat is $5, and you get multiple YouTube channels and a Twitch account, and like they really expanded it recently. And so you can pay for that. Like, the commission option is the problem. So I'm going to get in a huge tangent that you could totally cut out if you don't like this. So the original MCN concept and model is based on a talent agency or a brand agency that works with a celebrity or a company or some other form of brand and connects them with the resources and coaching that they need to land more sponsored deals, to find the right resources they need, yada yada. This is typically worked on commission because whatever money that company is bringing you in, they simply take a little sliver off the top. That's how they make their money, and then they give you the rest that you were supposed to have made. Makes sense when that is happening. When you're signing up for a company to literally just bring your channel into their wing and take the money that you're making and then maybe give it back to you, that doesn't make any sense. And so what you're actually doing is paying for services, music library access, education, potential graphics resources, although why would you use someone else's pre-made graphics on your channel that are made for a network? That's never made sense to me. You know, you're paying for these specific services, which have
the one that kills me is networking opportunities, which is like a community forum.
Yeah, they throw you in a Discord server and try to moderate it.
Yeah.
And so you can, those are things that are supposed to be fixed costs, as in $5 a month for music. Go pay some YouTube guru $100 to learn from their course and then realize why that was a mistake. You pay an artist to make graphics for you. These are fixed costs. You pay X amount, you know how much you're paying, and you know how much you're getting back. The commission model is not a fixed cost, which means no matter how much money you make, they're going to keep taking more from you, even if you're not using their services. It doesn't make any sense. That's not how it's supposed to go. And thankfully, we've seen a transition of some MCNs and companies like that towards the actual agency model, where they don't actually charge you anything up front. They only take a commission out of the ad buys that they get you or out of the brand deals they land you. So if you make $500 or something from a brand deal, they'll take a chunk of that. They don't just take your ad revenue for the hell of it. They are not serve. Oh, okay. That's the biggest scam of MCNs, based on a concept from Machinima in like 2011 that no longer applied for the next 5 years. Was they got you premium YouTube ads, which made you more money, which is why they needed to take a chunk of that. 90% of the MCNs they just ran AdSense. You just run AdSense. So they are literally charging you your own AdSense earnings to just check that box for you, which YouTube already does on default unless you turn it off.
Oh, it's so good.
Yes. Okay.
Rant over. Now you mentioned that you're getting back into streaming, right? Mm-hmm. Was that just from a desire to do more gaming stuff, less scripted, more off the cuff connection with people? Because I've also seen you turn a couple bits of your stream into videos for your second channel, not for your first yet. But I also know your history with streaming software, which we'll touch on in a couple questions. So how do you feel about that? Like, why did you get back into streaming?
I don't really know. It was a decision that just kind of I decided at some random point. I've always enjoyed live streaming. Always. As someone who loves technology and who gets into the OBS stuff I'm sure we'll talk about and yada yada, I've always been interested in the idea of live streaming. And back when I had terrible internet at home, when I first started college, my university library had blazing fast gigabit Wi-Fi, which was just absurd to me. I was like, what kind of internet is this? I have DSL. And so
I'm directly connected to the Matrix.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. And so I pulled up, even though I was in the university library, I couldn't talk, I didn't have a headset. I pulled up my laptop, and I forget what software I used, but I did some screen streaming software to stream me typing a paper. And some friends of a very big Call of Duty YouTuber at the time found that stream somehow. I think it was on Justin TV. And just started chatting with me, and then I ended up making a connection with that YouTuber, and we did a dual commentary collaborative thing at the time, which got me my first 1K subs. And so it's always held like this weird special place in my heart. And then in 2012 or 2013, I did a Control Freak sponsored full Halo tournament. That was pretty cool. And then I've just streamed off and on. I've made Twitch affiliate. Last year I did some PC building live streams, and everyone seems to love the interactive element. And every time I go back and because I'll get super salty about streaming because I have some very controversial opinions about the kind of content that it is, what it does to the content, like perspective and the audience-creator relationship, and a lot of ridiculous things. And so I will have some negative feelings about streaming. But anytime I go watch my own clips or another channel's highlight clips that people have cut out, you see the best moments, and I get super nostalgic. I was like, yeah, that was a good time. I don't have any way of just cutting that out of my daily life or my interactions with my audience on Twitter or anything. So I'd love to just have some live streams again and just have some good moments where I can be like, yeah, look at that cool thing that happened. That was some fun times. And then I went and got ridiculous, and I built a computer building live stream set back there. I've got my, oh, it's black. Never mind. I was going to show you.
Oh, no.
I don't know why it keeps disconnecting. I have a full, game streaming setup. I just moved my computer to do 2 PC streaming, so I have PC streaming and console streaming here.
You were just talking about that the other day.
And I built, and I'm waiting on a motherboard to arrive to build a third streaming system for retro gaming upstairs in another room. And so I went from, I never streamed for 6 months to, let's have 3 different streaming setups, so I have to stream.
3 streamings and 3 sets.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Obligation. So, that's the only way to get yourself to make habits.
There's that comic about what they think it's motivation, and it's motivation will get you, and then it's discipline standing with a bat with nails in it behind motivation going, you will do this. You mentioned that, and you mentioned having multiple sets and multiple everything else. I think you are, and this is my opinion shining through here, you are probably the most technically capable, and also it seems like you've got your shit together when it comes to recording videos and doing sets, because I'll see you put together videos with footage from 2016 or earlier, 2 houses ago. How do you keep track of all of these different ideas and say, this is the one I'm going to work on today? And then what does your average day look like going through the editing, the streaming, the recording, the dealing with the cats running around the house, all of it.
Right. Keeping track is the thing I've struggled with the most. Sorry. Keeping track is the thing that I've struggled with the most. It's something that I've tried a bajillion different systems for. So I actually have arguably 3 or 4 different like tracking systems running simultaneously, depending on which I'm actually bothering to keep up with at the time. So my natural instinct is to have a notebook and a bunch of sticky notes all over my monitor here with just random ideas that come to mind that I need to chase down for videos, and just put them everywhere and hope I get to them and remember them. And even though they're in front of my face, sometimes I'll forget.
Okay.
The second thing that I tried to do is I set up this really advanced Google Sheet spreadsheet system where I track all of the video ideas I could come up with, and I even had like priority A, priority B, priority C, gaming channel, things like that. And then it will automatically move them along based on how far I say I'm in the video and clear them out when I'm done.
Nice.
I use that for like 2 months at a time and then never go back to it for a little bit because there's like 3 million. Each tab has like 300 listings in it, and so I can never keep track of it. And then my current main thing is I will just have scripts open within a Google Docs folder separated by year and by channel, and then what they're actually, like, if they're done or not. And then I will just migrate the scripts as I'm working on them. Madness, pure madness. But I have reached a point, and it's something that I truly believe in my soul with regards to YouTubing, where I know I'm on the right path, because I could literally have something go wrong in my brain and never come up with a new video idea again, and still have content to make for like 2 to 3 more years because of all the things I've already come up with. And ideally that means that when I reach a point of having a team working for me, I'm just going to produce so much freaking content, like I'll never have enough upload slots to post. We'll see.
Just videos everywhere.
I'll take the old Athene workflow of 1 video every hour.
Oh, God.
That was a fun time.
Yeah.
So as far as a day in the life of Epos goes, that depends on the day. A lot of them, I will do absolutely nothing until like 2 p.m. other than eat and watch YouTube videos. But then a lot of them, I'll wake up and by like 10 a.m. I will have 5 scripts done and a video edited and social media posts done. I don't like setting, like the whole reason I got into the whole work from home, work for yourself kind of thing is I don't like rigid schedules or being forced to work away that I don't feel in the day, which sounds like a lazy millennial, but there's some merit to it.
Our millennials killing the YouTube industry. Here we go. There's that video.
Yes. But I spend most of my time doing the boring stuff, which is either script writing or research or emailing companies back and forth, which can be very draining, or providing tech support to the rest of the internet that doesn't know how to find actual tech support, which I'm happy to do, but it's always funny that that's somehow my job when I'm like an artist, basically, not IT. But
you're an IT artist.
Yeah. But I spend a lot of time doing that stuff, and then my goal is usually to have like a few scripts together to where I can go set up. I have a whole dedicated bedroom in our apartment as a video set, or sometimes I'll record videos here, but it's louder with computer fan noise. And I'll have like multiple videos queued up, and I have a teleprompter that I use with my phone, and I just queue up the scripts and just record them back to back to back, maybe remembering to change shirts or the lighting colors or whatever.
The trick of YouTube. There's a pile of shirts right there.
And then I have them all ready to edit out as I have energy and ability to, and then upload ideally 3 times a week, sometimes 5 or 7, but you never know.
9. Yeah.
That's happened once. I spent a couple years pushing 1 video every weekday, and then I finally backed it off to 3 a week, and that's been a healthier approach. But
nice. So, talking about the things that you covered, the issues that you covered, all the different technologies you covered, one that you sort of have become the go-to source on is OBS. Mm-hmm. And you did an OBS Master Class last year, I believe, was when most of it came out.
Right.
that seemed to be, you very much were going for the master class sort of approach. You put out a few clips independently, and then you put out the whole thing as an 8.5-hour video. And then, but you put it all out there. Are you super proud of that? Do you think you need to be updating it sometime soon? And then what led up to being like, yeah, let's produce 8.5 hours of video on one specific topic?
That was the best and worst decision I've ever made for the channel. It's what I've always wanted to do. Like, my entire approach to tech content has always been education focused. And so even some people will even say, like, my reviews are less like direct hardcore critical reviews and more explainer videos, because I want to make sure people understand everything, and I have learned from years of doing this that if I leave out a detail or something, then I'll get a million questions about it, and that's more work for me and less understanding of the people and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm very education focused, and so I'm always trying to take the level of how-to videos to the next step. And I'm not the most innovative person in the world, but the next step for that was a cohesive, not, okay, here's a video from 2 years ago that's half updated, go reference that, and then come back to this one, because that's how my OBS videos were for a while.
Kind of, yeah.
My previous main OBS playlist was actually a very similar format, but it was for back when OBS Studio was called OBS Multi-Platform.
Yep.
And I sat down over like a weekend and recorded all of this just in the microphone with tutorials, and that did pretty well. But then as soon as the name changed, that video just, like, it went from, like, #1 on YouTube search results and bringing me all my views. None of those videos worked anymore. And even if I changed the title of it and yada yada, it didn't recover. And I wanted to kind of recreate that. I originally got the inspiration, though, was my big bump. I mentioned that I started tech content first day of 2015. In August of 2015, when we were actually literally on the plane to go do an event with you, I right before we left, Windows 10 released, and yes. I stayed up until like 6 a.m. overnight, just recording back to back to back everything I could think of to show off in Windows 10. I'd already kind of looked at it a little bit before, and there was already content out before, but people weren't searching for it as much until it actually released. And so as soon as I could get it installed on my computer, I did like 8 or so videos and then released them, flew away, and as soon as we got to the hotel, I grew by like 18,000 subscribers. And I was like, this is it. Big format, just like people have everything to reference all together. And it was pretty cool. And then I tried to do it professionally with the MCN I worked at, is I wanted to spin off a YouTube training course. And I spent literally 2 years working on this for them to never actually release it. But at that point, I had at least built up the skill set and the actual workflow to kind of rehash that into something else. And so the entire time, once I quit that MCN that I was live streaming for like 3 months full time pretty much, I was taking notes of all the different things that people need to know when they're streaming and build outlines for this course, and then waited 3 or 4 months because I got tired of that, and then came back to it, shot it all at once. I actually spent like $3,000 upgrading equipment to actually have the capability to do these kind of like lengthy things. I had bought my Atomos Ninja Inferno, which allowed me to get lengthier recordings out of my camera and do higher quality screen capture, since I need to zoom in like 500 times sometimes. And I got a better microphone and things like that. Audio recorder. And sat down and for like 2 weeks just recorded 50-something videos, standing in front of the camera, breaking my back, just back to back to back, and then spent the next few months towards the end of 2017 editing them and getting them ready to release. And it was great. I'm super proud of it. It is one of the best pieces of tutorial content on YouTube. It's the best thing I've produced. If I stopped doing YouTube, that would be my swan song, I guess. But the goal was to keep doing that. The goal was to then, okay, Streamlabs OBS or another XSplit, something like that, to do like mini courses, or OBS for Mac, do a little mini course on that. But I got so burned out because I pushed that so like densely together, the production and trying to get it out really quick, that I didn't actually do any of that in 2018. And so I'm trying to come back to it now, because it's felt kind of weird that I've just been like, yeah, I made a YouTube masterclass, and that's now like 2 years old, in terms of year numbers.
Time for the sequel.
Yeah, it's weird to keep referencing me doing a big thing when I did it 2 years ago. And so I've had an outline for literally 6 months for a Streamlabs OBS course. So I'm going to change the format a bit so it's easier to produce, but I'm going to start working on that. And then I want to do some editing videos and just smaller packaged courses that don't take up my entire life, because that also disrupts my normal content output. Because if I'm spending all day doing this, I can't turn around and upload videos.
That's really exciting.
But yes, I am super proud of it, and it was also hell, but that's kind of the direction I want to go. And a lot of channels actually supplement like most of their income by paid courses. And at some point I would like to get into that. I don't have that kind of salesmanship or confidence to like believe someone's going to buy this. And I'm still kind of at that growth point where it makes more sense to release things that people can find me for and grow my channel than to sell it and not have anybody know where it is other than people who are already subscribed.
Yes.
But at some point I'd like to transition to where I have both my YouTube content and you can have some super in-depth TV produced video guides as well.
One day.
2020.
Okay.
Maybe
you put a hard
2020.
deadline on it.
That's my aim. That's the first time I've said it publicly, but that's fine.
You mentioned all of the stuff you do. I know you have your Discord server, which you're talking in constantly. You're streaming constantly. You're responding to emails from users or comments from users about all the different tech support issues that you're doing. But I remember you also telling me a story once that you ran into somebody in real life who knew about your channel and it freaked you out. Because there was this, all of a sudden it's like, oh, these aren't just comments on the internet. There's people there and there's things behind this. And you hear all these horror stories about people who show up at people's houses or something like that. How do you feel about this idea of the always available creator and that people have to always make themselves on and online and at 100%? And what do you think somebody coming up in YouTube could do to counteract that and sort of have a bit of a wall, a bit of a private space without seeming off-putting?
The best thing you can do for yourself is to have a healthy social life outside of YouTube or internet friends that you can get your actual social juice out of, because if you start blending the work and the play social circles too much, everything is work, and that can be problematic for a bajillion different reasons on your health and the time you spend doing things. And a big thing is just to keep up a consistent, like you kind of said, wall of what you're available for and what kind of interactions you can provide. And a lot of us struggle with that and are super inconsistent with it, myself 100%. And that kind of creates dissonance in terms of whether people know whether they can come to you for certain things or not. Like I have a friend that does tech videos that every time someone asks, he has a copy paste or auto reply answer of, I don't provide one-on-one tech support. I do that sometimes, and then sometimes I'll still provide one-on-one tech support. And then I get mad when people keep coming to me for it, and it's my fault. But it depends on your personality in terms, or like your lifestyle in terms of whether you actually want that, or if you want to mitigate some of the always on, always available kind of thing. I'm a hermit. I don't leave my house unless I have to most of the time. I've been that way most of my life. I'm cool with it. I don't have much IRL social stuff, and even my IRL friends I spend more time talking to online than in person. I'm cool with that. This allows me to get that social energy out while also focusing on my own stuff and feeling private and alone. But some people aren't that way, and if you're already doing a lot of stuff, you don't want to communicate a ton and manage your social circles online. And for those people, when you reach a point, you need to build up a dedicated like community team or moderator team or some sort of social media rep that is kind of engaging with your community on some level, even if they aren't pretending to be you, but rather just like representing you, like your Twitch mod staff or a Discord community server where most people, like you have certain people who manage it and communicate and aren't you having to do all the work. And people kind of pick up how available you are based on how much they see you online talking to random people. And because you may see your favorite YouTubers online only ever responding to each other, and that may seem unfortunate, like you want to engage with these people, but you do have to keep the perspective in mind that they have so many people yelling at them at once that they can't. But then you'll see other people that will just like spend all day talking to people like I do, and you got to get a feel for it. And you kind of got to dip your toes in with what you want, but be ready to turn off notifications on literally everything and be able to filter the kind of communications you want. In terms of
eat the phone right out the window.
Yep. And I've had to do that, especially for people that send like entire blocks of text, like one line at a time on like on Discord DMs or Twitter DMs, sitting there with my phone vibrating for 10 minutes. I have blocked people on Facebook messaging because they've done that while I'm sleeping.
That's the worst.
Thankfully, you can turn off messaging for Facebook pages now, but you couldn't for a while. And so I had no way. I deleted the Facebook Pages app from my phone, and then they rerouted messages to the normal Messenger app, which I need in order to communicate with family and stuff, and no way to check it or turn it off. It'll just tell me I have a message. If I try to go to it, it'll be like, go to Facebook, and I can't turn it off. And so I would get at like 3 a.m. someone just sending like 2 words at a time for like 10 minutes, wake me up, and I just go through and block them at that point. But for mobile notifications, like you never want notifications for ongoing comments or replies on Twitter or anything like that. Some people live that life. If you need to manage things, those should always be the first to go.
Yep.
Basically, set up high priority stuff that you don't want to miss. You want to know exactly. I mean, that's the point of push notifications. You need to know exactly when it comes in. Otherwise, put it off. Check Twitter manually. Check Facebook manually. Check your YouTube comments manually. Your life will be so much smoother. And once I finally transitioned to that, instead of just feeling kind of the noise coming in of notifications and just ignoring it, it's a lot more free.
All right, ready? Lightning round. Time for some controversial opinions that will undoubtedly make people upset.
Time to lose all my fans.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
How do you feel about pineapple on pizza?
No.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's a taco.
That was literally the next question. Damn it. Other than YouTube, what would be your dream job?
I would like to say some sort of editor or camera operator for actual TVs or movies. Or actually, before that, an actual host on something like G4.
Oh my God, that would be
that was
so
what
awesome.
I wanted to graduate college doing. G4 or Machinima, and both of them were gone by the time I finished college.
Well, one's more gone now. Oh no, we didn't even touch on that. Damn.
Yeah.
You completely threw me off. I'm sorry. You just completely threw me off.
I zapped the lightning back.
What is your favorite movie?
Die Hard.
What is your least favorite movie that you've watched?
That I've watched. That's tough. I'm going to say Frozen. I've only watched it while my kid's sister watched it, but she watched it 500 times in the room next to me and kept singing it, and I never want to hear it again. I never even watched the movie all the way through, but only chunks, but I'm done.
Don't play Kingdom Hearts 3, because you're going to have to hear the whole song in its entirety, and it's awful.
Oh, great.
Yeah, no, just mute it and walk away for a moment. What? Good Lord. So who do you watch on YouTube? Who's like your top 3, top 4 channels that you always go in and check and watch?
Linus Tech Tips, BBK Dragoon. I'm trying to stall and wait for my YouTube homepage to load because I'm subscribed to like 200 channels. Digital Foundry, they do amazing stuff with regards to game benchmarking and performance testing, things like that. DSLR video shooter, obligatory Legundo reference, and Level 1 techs. And then a bunch of photography channels thrown in there that they're all grouped together in a slot.
If you could ban a word from the internet, what would it be?
A lot of words that I'm just not going to say out loud.
Great answer. And what... And just the final question, what is like the one thing that you want out of anything? The ultimate... What's your one... Here, we'll narrow it down. What's the one piece of tech you want for the channel? Or for your just to have?
If we're talking short term, I really almost need at this point either a Radeon 7 graphics card or a Titan RTX because VRAM limitations, techie stuff I've talked about on my channel. I desperately need it to actually function. If we're talking about dream stuff, that's really tough. I'm just going to say an Ari Alexa large format 65 camera.
Ooh, that's
movie stuff that you literally cannot buy. You can only rent.
Yeah. You can't buy those at all?
You can only buy it if you're willing to buy 10 and rent them out to other people. And they're $100,000 plus each.
Cool. So next year, 2020.
2020. You heard it here first.
So thank you so much for sitting down to talk with me on this. Where can people find you online?
YouTube.
And where can people find you?
any platform, hopefully with EPOS, VOX, EposVox, YouTube, Instagram. I do a lot of like retro gamer stuff on there. Twitch, EposVox, Twitter, EposVox, EposVox.com/Discord for our Discord server. You'll find me.
You'll find me.
I'm on Google.
But thank you very much for sitting down and talking with me, dude. I super appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you all for watching this episode of Behind the Lens. We'll be back next week. Bye. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Behind the Lens. I had a great time sitting down with Epos, and you should definitely go check out his channel if you want to know pretty much anything about streaming technology or a bunch of other fun stuff. If you want input on who I speak to next in this series and you want to see new episodes early, go subscribe over on Patreon. This series was birthed from their support, and they continue to reap the benefits of that as well as you. That's pretty much it for this week. I'll see you next time on another episode. Bye-bye.